Have you ever wondered if your favorite childhood stars were being abused on set? No? Well, you. If their childhoods were ruined by the industry, why does yours get to stay pristine? As Hollywood looks to exploit and perverse every inch of your mind, Nickelodeon takes its support Jeffrey Epstein hat off and says, bet. Nickelodeon said, hold my logo. No one living in 2024 beyond maybe my parents aren't familiar with the Dan Schneider rabbit hole and every disgusting thing he did in, on, and around the set, but this series takes a deeper dive into the depravity that Nickelodeon allowed for years, including countless people that knew about it and allowed it to go on, either because they didn't care or because they wanted to succeed in an industry that didn't care about them. It's honestly fucking deplorable, but I want to talk about the bombshell behind the conviction of a sex offender by the name of Brian Peck back in 2004 and the John Doe that put him behind bars. If you didn't know or haven't seen the series, Drake Bell, the actor and musician behind The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, as well as his own horrible conviction, admits to being the abused John Doe that put a tubby little chode named Brian Peck behind bars at the very young age of 15. Brian Peck, the saggy tub of shit, was a 43-year-old dialogue coach on The Amanda Show and was given extensive access to work his slimy little sausage fingers into Bell's personal life. Some of the worst and most tragic parts of this story is that 41 character witness letters were sent in to help lighten the sentence for John Wayne Gacy's little pen pal. Oh yeah, that fat bozo the cloud wannabe, known for raping young men and burying them in his crawl space, had fans. And it seems Brian here was one of them. Apparently, he had a painting Gacy made for him in prison, as well as letters written from Fatso the Clown himself to Baby Dick Brian. Returning to these character witness letters, out of the 41 sent, 2 of them were from Will Friedle and Ryder Strong. Both actors really only recognized for their work on Boy Meets World and its spin-off Girl Meets World. According to Bell, these 2 were keenly aware of what Brian was doing behind closed doors, and even after hearing the refusal of several others to write character letters on behalf of Brian, why was this even a discussion? Like, did Brian really get everyone together in a room? Listen, I know I'm a fat piece of shit, and I've admitted to all of you on a number of occasions that I love the smell of child innocence. But if you'll give me a glowing recommendation to the judge, I'll prove that I can't be reformed and that my fat Cheeto dust covered fingers will always endanger the lives of children. So these 2 goobers decided to send them anyways. I guess under the assumption that they would never be opened or released to the public. To avoid being biased though, they claimed that they were also abused and that Brian persuaded them and others to write these letters on his behalf. But from what I can tell, they never worked with Brian before or after Boy Meets World. Now, I could have missed something, so feel free to call me out, but from what I could find, Brian only worked on Boy Meets World for a couple of episodes in 1999, when Will and Ryder would have been in their early 20s, so I'm actually inclined to believe Drake on this nonsense. But Brian Peck only received 16 months behind bars, no doubt due to these letters, and somehow after his release, he was hired to work at Disney. I don't know how this wasn't immediately flagged. They did eventually terminate him after finding out about his prior conviction, but I'm guessing it wasn't at the behest of Disney's screening process for potential monsters, and probably just someone aware of his disgusting past. There is so much more to this docuseries on Max, but I just wanted to cover a small portion. Drake and Josh was a big part of my childhood and also one of the last. I was around for all that, The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, but I was roughly an adult by the end of the series and I had lost interest by that point. So I don't know what trauma you all feel for iCarly or everything afterwards. The one thing that still keeps me up at night is the fact that during Drake's trial, every horrible thing he was convicted and held responsible for, he never once tried to use this as a scapegoat for his terrible transgressions. I mean, he could have released this information and maybe deflected some of the blame off of himself, but he stuck to what he did and what made him a monster in the eyes of so many young women and fans around the world. Only after his sentencing and his fall from grace, after the dust had settled, did he ever come forward about this. His actions are inexcusable and he deserved everything that came and probably more, but I can't help but wonder how much of this was subconsciously due to his past. Maybe hurt people is really a thing. Maybe he was always horrible. just food for thought. Anyways, thanks for tuning in for the full breakdown, and if you did enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you enjoy the animations and artwork popping up around my channel, my friend Brain Blips is the mastermind behind it all, and he hosts a really chill artwork stream on Twitch. Or you can find his animations on here at the Flesh Lump Collective. He's a phenomenal artist and really down-to-earth guy, and he deserves love as well, so I'll leave his links in the description. Go check him out and show him some support. Make sure to like and share the video, and let me know in the comments what punishment is befitting of Brian. I'll put my favorite in the next video. Until then, be well.